Look at the thorns on this. Tim Evans just did some fun thorn stuff. He's got videos you could search. These are nasty thorns. So this is a hawthorn. If you see big thorns, there aren't many things in Michigan with big thorns, so it's most likely going to be a hawthorn. You would know it by the flowers. It's a rosaceae. But I can tell you it's a hawthorn just by the thorns, even if there were no leaves. But good rose would have serrate leaves. This has serrate leaves. We might as well just kind of slowly walk out here. There's... I haven't pointed out many maples yet because the leaves have been so small. This is really deeply lobed, so this is going to be a silver maple. Remember, maples are opposite leaves. You can see the opposite leaf. The branches is easier than the leaves because they're so bunched together. But it's really deeply lobed. That's how you'd know silver maple. Remember, the sugar would be a curved here, whereas this is more of a pointy lobe. But it's really deeply lobed.
Nice silvery bark too.
Yeah, it's got silvery bark, but the leaves are really distinctive. So here's again, this is the one I had tromped out the water for, so I didn't really need to. This is the water arum again, and it's you can see the whole plant. This will have a spathe and spadex, so it's Araceae. Mixed in here,
Lots of duckweed.
lots of duckweed. Not many leaves yet. There's
It's like this is underwater, but we're covered.
oh, we're fine. So here's the leather leaf. So we did leather leaves just a moment ago, and see how they got the little bell flowers, and then remember they got the little kind of dots on them, and they're real leathery leaves, and they get smaller towards the tip. Then right next to it is blueberries, and I would know that these are blueberries because they'd have blueberries. But I've got blueberries in my yard, and I kind of recognize them. They're not. It's unfortunate that they haven't quite opened yet, but the flowers look identical, and they're both Ericaceae. I will say though, not all Ericaceae are evergreen, and blueberries lose their leaves. Right next to it, we've got, see these little catkins? So this is actually a birch, and I just love this one. It's got these cute little round leaves, and they're even cuter now because they're so small, but they don't get much bigger than they are right now, and they stay fairly round, and they've got this really rounded serrations. You don't call it serration when they're rounded, but for us, rounded serrations, and they're just cute. They got there's no cones right now. These are the but they'll have little cones later in the summer. So that's the, it's Betula pumila. It's on your list. I forget the common name. Dwarf birch. It's little. So that's that. We've got right here. Okay, so here's all the cones. Last year's cones. So that's the female cones.
Point out those cones one more time.
So they're black.
Yeah.
We've got this the rose right here. See how the rose hips are bigger than the ones we were looking at before? This is Rosa palustris, or water rose. You know, in reality, I would just have, rose pretty much. But what's neat about this one is the thorns are deciduous. So the thorns are just starting to come out right now. Whereas your typical rose, has thorns all year round. This is a weird one. The thorns actually fall off. We've got a pine here. This really shouldn't be here, but it is. We can count the needles, and there's 2 needles. So it's going to be a red pine. and this time of year they don't snap like they're supposed to. But it did snap. So a red pine would have 2 needles and they break when you. Here's a willow, and again here's the catkins. So there's a lot of different species of willow. Willows are very difficult to key out. I wouldn't recommend it as one of the first plants you key out, but it's doable if you have catkins. There's cinnamon ferns with all the hairs, the white coming up. We've got larch or tamarack. These are a deciduous pine family. Again, these will make a fan later. I showed you some on campus, but as they first come out, they're just a bunch. But later in the summer, they'll be look like bike spokes. Really cute. My daughter loves to pet them, if you will, because they've got soft needles. Would be a horrible Christmas tree because they're deciduous.
Neighbor kids like to pull them off.
Yeah. Good thing we got our boots.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
There's lots of sphagnum. We'll get more sphagnum
That's
out.
the moss down here.
That's the moss. I'll grab some out further. But I was just looking for a sundew. I don't see any. So luckily we got our boots. Okay, these are probably better here.
If you come out to Salt Lake Bog anytime soon, make sure you have some good boots if you own them. Because the part of the walk is underwater.
The red plant there is a pitcher plant, and it's a carnivorous. And so you can see the hairs at the top, and then the insects get trapped on the inside of it. And so it eats them. Carnivorous. So one of the famous things about a bog is it's got carnivorous plants, and the pitcher plant is the super duper plant at the bog.
Death trap for insects.
Death trap. There's a Peltandra here. I feel kind of bad taking it, but I'm gonna do it anyhow.
Well, I can get it up close.
Actually, no, it's not a Peltandra. It's
No.
the Aeromagid, so never mind. Okay, so as we walk, this would be what you call an open bog. And then back or over in that side, what we walk through, but also you can just see over there, that would be what you call a closed bog. And we talked about this in lecture. The bog is, if you look all the way around, you can see where this is clearly a lake. And what's happened is the lake has been encroached by all the plants. And one of the plants that is the main one is the sphagnum that we just zoomed in on a moment ago. Remember, the sphagnum grows from the tips of the hole and it floats. So this whole thing is floating. And so we transition from the closed bog to the open bog. And the closed would have the tamarack, and then in this transition zone is all the leather leaf. So lots of real pretty leather leaf. It's real, it's like the cartoon for a bog would be the leather, or a fen also would be leather leaf. So there's lots of it here. There's, if we go into the open bog, so I'm gonna break the rules. Maybe you could I don't know, zoom in on some sphagnum or something.
Nice little
Alright, so you're not supposed to do this. I always have one student do it. Remember, it's floating, so you see it kind of wiggle?
Yeah, do that one more time. I didn't have your whole body. Go ahead.
See the ground wiggles? If you get out further, it really, really, really wiggles. Alright, you gotta hand me the...
Yep.
Alright, we're gonna zoom in on... Sorry if you're getting dizzy here. A sundew. Okay. I don't know. My wife's better at this than me. It's a carnivorous plant. Darn it. Yeah, now you can really see it. See the little sticky things? So it's like a, it traps the insects on those little sticky things. So it's tiny. Right next to it is a bog bean. Usually when we come out, the bog beans are in flower. But I don't see any flowers right now. These, all this little vine, are cranberries. Usually I can find a cranberry. I don't see a cranberry. And maybe I'll just pan around for a second. So good open bog. We saw our two carnivorous plants. Those are the main ones. And hand this back to my wife real quick. Point out the stuff on the, yeah.
Yeah, this nice poster that they have really breaks down a lot of the good vegetation here. It's unique. See some of the key species out here. Especially there's that pitcher plant again. Here's some more of the pitcher plants. And here's the sundew.
Okay, so the
This shows some of the
sundew,
species.
pitcher plant, those are the ones everyone really wants to see. Cranberries are another kind of, attraction. Some bogs are managed just for cranberry production. We went to a cranberry bog in the UP. It was not worth doing, but
Yeah, it's fun. If you're in Whitefish Point, why not?
it's kind of some weirdos that ran it. But then the other one, of course, they're not out now. Cotton grass. So if you come here in the fall, I bring my aquatic plants course here in the fall. You see all these white poofs, and that's cotton grass, and that's just a really, so a lot of places will advertise that we have a bog trail with cotton grass, and then if it's a really good bog, then it'll have sundews and pitcher plants. But so this is a really good bog. It's got all three of the star attraction, all four if you will, because it's got the cranberries as well, and blueberries for that matter. Okay, let's stop there.